Hello everyone, and welcome back to Conrail's Ohio and West Virginia Division HO scale layout. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a layout update for 2022 as well as the beginning of 2023 here, January. This is something I'm thinking about doing once a month just to show what all's been going on in the layout, what's been working on. So stay tuned and catch some of the things that I've been working on over the last year on the layout to better make things and make better content for y'all that watch. So the first thing I'm going to be showing here today is some track repairs I had to do. Last year, it seemed like no matter what I tried to do, I kept running into derailment issues in different spots. So I had to kind of go through and pick places to do little repairs and big repairs. This particular curve here on our outside track by Richard's Yard here, it was just giving me a lot of trouble with 6-axle Athearn units specifically. I didn't have trouble with scale trains or anybody else for that matter, just the Athearn units. So when I went ahead and took a look at everything, I decided that I needed to replace from here to over here, as my original curve had a bit of a kink to it. It wasn't as smooth as it needed to be, and I kept having a problem where it would hit a point over in here and the front wheel of a 6-axle truck would derail, and then by the time it would get to the turnout down here for the entrance to the cement plant, it would end up catching on the switch and end up derailing. It was just not a good deal. And then while I was at it here, I'll also kind of pan over a little bit. I also had a bit of a problem with this section of track settling down and being lower than right here on the joint. For any of you that watched the original layout tour video, this layout is a modular design, and right at the center of our turnouts over here is actually where the two modules meet. So I had a little bit of a sagging problem here. While I had that section of track up, I went ahead and kind of lifted all this up all the way to the turnout to kind of smoothen things out a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's head over to Sherman Junction to show the next bit of repair work I had to do. Next up on our repair list here was actually these diamonds here at Sherman Junction for the abandoned crossing here. When I originally did the track work on this layout, I kind of did a bit of a dum-dum, and I tried to solder all these joints instead of using rail joiners, and finally kind of paid the price for it this year. I just kept having all the joints coming apart, so I finally had to break down and actually pull out the entire set of diamonds, put in joiners, put everything back, and try to blend everything as good as I could. It's not perfect, as you can tell, but it operates better, and that's kind of the bigger thing for me right now is having the railroad operate well, so that way I can enjoy running trains. Because there's nothing worse than when you just come over to try and run something and you have nothing but derailments. It'll make you crazy. So those were the two biggest projects I've been working on. I have some small spots where I'm doing some little, I need to add track power in places and just little things I've been trying to do, but those were the two big ones. The next things, I got some smaller stuff I want to show off, little detail things I've been working on just to kind of bring scenes more to life. So we'll start going through some of those next. The next thing I've really been working on, something I've been kind of doing recently, is actually these little signs, these Conrail no trespassing signs. I actually found on Amazon a little photo printer that prints out on like a sticky back photo paper. You do it with Bluetooth right from your phone and everything, and what that's given me the ability to do is to take these little signs and make a sheet of them and then print them out, and I can hang them up everywhere. So that's kind of been
one of the big things I've been working on the last few weeks, because I've been trying to get business names on like my cement plant, my paper mill, as well as another new scene on the layout that I'll be showing here shortly. That's been kind of one of the bigger projects I've been working on, is getting those done. 'Cause trying to cut those out is quite a pain, but it just looks cool and it really adds to the realism of the layout, in my opinion. I really enjoy having them. Another thing I've been working on as well is these little tie plates here. These are from Yelton Models, as well as I believe this little bin and these little spike pails. I ordered these in from them back last fall, and I've just been kind of slowly getting everything painted and just kind of putting them in little places here and there where if you really look, you can see them. There's a few laying over here along the tracks in places, and then I just have the spike pails randomly thrown out as well, just in different scenes, just to again bring a little bit more life. The more little details you add, the more you can see in a railroad. So that's kind of been another project I've been working on there. We're going to head over towards the yard next to show the next little bit I've been working on. One of the next big pieces I've been working on is adding these little switch stands and switch throws here throughout the layout at any turnouts, anywhere I could put them. As you can see, this one got moved, so we'll go ahead and we'll put that back where it should be. But they're not glued down anywhere yet or not. They're just kind of sitting in different spots. It's the basis from Details West. I can't recall who the actual arms themselves are from, but that's been a big project. I would show you the ones in the yard, but right now I've got a bunch of trains in the yard because I've been trying to get things ready to film another Conrail and HO scale and get that out there. So the yard's a bit of a mess right now, so we'll just show this one here. But again, I've been trying to get them built and put them everywhere that I can on the layout to try and again bring more realism, bring everything just a little bit more to life. So one of the things I'm really excited about here for the future is I finally actually got a system to do my signaling here for the interlocking singles here at Sherman Junction. This is from Azatrax. It's a TS5 deal, and what it does, it has infrared sensors that will sense whenever a train goes by. I have the first couple of them installed here on the far end of the interlocking. I don't have the ones installed closer to Sherman Junction itself. But that's a project I've been slowly working on. Right now I need to get the other infrareds installed, and then I need to get a board to mount this deal too here, so that way I could start wiring it up. But look for that in the next few months to kind of show off some of the cool deal you can have when you have actual working signals and all that fun stuff. Now we're back over here by the locomotive shop, the engine service terminal, etc. And we have the next thing I've kind of been messing around with. I never really had a good idea what I wanted to put over in this area in front of the locomotive shop and the engine service tracks. And I saw this particular Walther's kit, and for some reason I liked the look of the building. I liked the style of it. I decided that would make a great caboose shop. So I'm actually going to end up putting track all down in here to run into the caboose shop, have two tracks to run. Because on the O&WV, we still run cabooses on all of our locals for backing maneuvers, and just because, well, it looks cool. So that's another thing I'm going to be working on here in the next few months as I have time, because I have to take out the track over here and install this turnout and get that all good to go. But finally actually have something started over here. It only took 3 years now, but we finally actually have a plan and something going on over here. Our next stop on our layout update here is again right near our signals that we have our infrared deal on. This another Walther's kit that I saw, and it just kind of it spoke to me, and I said, you know what, I'm going to use this for this section of the layout because I just never had any good idea over here, and I wanted to do some scenery. And this is going to be the S. Lesnick Company paper recyclers. So they'll be getting box cars to load out scrap paper and ship it out. As you can see, I also kind of did the scenery back here in the back, got a little ditch with water and stuff. Still have a lot of little detail work to do. Just little stuff I haven't gotten around to just yet. I just kind of did the main scenery, and then I still have to add all the little stuff. But here you can see again my signs I've been working on, and that's kind of what's going on over here. I'll turn the camera around, get a shot from the other end, kind of show the other end of the building here as well. Now here we are again at the far end where we have all of our different scenery worked on and everything. And I don't know if it'll show here in the picture or not, but this is where it all stops for scenery at this point. We're getting down here to where we come around our other set of curves, but As you can tell over here, there's our little ditch with water in it. We have some CSX Chessie hoppers all sitting back over there full of coal. And that's basically what's been going on over here. Like I mentioned, this is not a done scene by any means. This is just the basics, you know, getting the ground painted, getting the rails painted, going through and putting down ballast, doing a little greenery work. I still have a lot of detail work to do over here yet, but as time allows, I'll slowly add more and more to this, and it'll be a finished scene here eventually. Next up on our list of things I've been working on. Um, for those of you that don't know, I'm not really a very big NS guy, but there's a few mile railroad channels I really enjoy on YouTube that do a lot of NS stuff, and that's kind of inspired me to have just a little bit of NS power on my layout. So what we have here is we have an Athearn Dash 9. This is from the most recent run. I ended up backdating this one to the late 90s, so it's a little bit more towards delivered. I had to paint over a bunch of decals and redo the hand railing on the conductor's side, but I just like the number of it. I probably would have rather gotten a scale trains unit, but the Athearn one's not bad. But I added ESU Loc sound and did the basic stuff too. Just a basic weathering on it, nothing too crazy. Just standard fare NS-9 power. You know, nothing too much to it. Now the unit behind it is actually a Scale Trains SD40-2. That's an N&W model I got that was undecorated last summer. And I went ahead and built that into the NS1627. Kind of did all the weathering. I really like how that one turned out. That one came out pretty cool. I would eventually like to get a Southern SD40S2 as well to repaint into NS and do that, but that's going to be down the road because I'm not going to pay the astronomical prices those are on the used market. I'll wait till Scale Trains does another run or even does the NS version in a run. So that's those have been kind of my little bit of foreign power. Some of you guys have seen the last Conrail and HO scale actually had some CSX power too as well, which we'll go take a look at real quick if I can get a good shot of it here in the yard. Next up on our tour here we have our CSX SD40-2, the 8437. This is actually a model from the most recent Athearn run they did last year, the Ready to Roll line. I picked this up last fall and just kind of went to town on it. I added ESU Loc sound. I also updated it to like a 98, 99 time frame, added ditch lights, and just did some other minor detail work to it. Did a lot of weathering. For a better look at this one, you gotta look at the last Conrail and HO scale that really showcases this one, as well as the train it's pulling. I was really proud of how that train came out. I weathered all of the cars in that and kind of become one of my favorite trains to run around. So that was a big project over last year, was doing all of those cars and getting everything weathered and get everything out on the layout. So let's move on to the next few pieces. Next up on our tour here we have the Conrail 5000. This is a B36-7 model from Rapido. This is one that I actually renumbered and just weathered to the late 90s. This unit seemed to hang around the Canton, Mansfield, Ohio area during the late 90s on the Fort Wayne line. And I kind of just, you know, I have a bit of a soft spot for some of these units that tended to work in local service. A lot of cool weathering on this one, like on the fuel tank and on the sides and everything. And look for this one to pop up in a future Conrail and HO scale video. But for right now, this is a little bit of a sneak peek of it, as well as its second unit, which you guys have probably seen already in the other videos. That's Conrail 5002, another Rapido model that I renumbered, redecaled, etc. Now for some more neat stuff here. This is a Kato SD40-2R that I built, the 6974. This is just another, just kind of filler unit just to have a run around in a train, but again, is something cool to build. These Kato units are really fun because they run well and you could detail them up real nice as well. This one I added a open door here, as well as open cab doors on both sides, because on the O&WV, it's the middle of summer and it's hot, so the crew members are going to have the doors wide open to get that air conditioning because the locomotives don't have it in it. So that's another cool one. That one again will be featured in the future Conrail and HO scale. And last but not least on our locomotive tour here, we have a pair of GP10 units I built. Our first one here, this is actually an Ather Genesis unit, 7579. It was a Pennsylvania Railroad unit that I went ahead and redetailed and modified to fit about 90, I think it was 1994, 95 photos I could find of it on Conrail. It's a little bit before my modeling era, but these GP10s are just too cool, so kind of have a little bit of a, gotta have them. Same with this second unit here. This is the 7571. Another unit that technically shouldn't be on the railroad, but it's just too cool not to have. It's an intermountain unit. I added the steam generator tubes up on the top that only a handful of these had, so those will be in another Conrail and HO scale video. They'll be coming out shortly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but that's kind of the big locomotive stuff I've been working on. I've done a boatload of GP38s as well. I think I did 5. One of them's in the time-lapse video I posted a few weeks back. That's the 7689's in that one. But I also did the 7680, the 7688, the 7682. I think I did the 7686. Yes, I did do the 7686 as well. So there's 5 GP38s that have already been in a video that are all currently are generally all sitting around somewhere, either hooked up to a train or sitting around over here in our locomotive storage area here. But just some different cool stuff. This one I did last year, the 7656, as well as this caboose down here. I can't get a good angle on that, but those are the main things I was working on as far as locomotives and such. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at any freight cars I could try and get here. It's one of my more favorite projects I did for a freight car was actually this molten sulfur tank car. This is a Walther's car that I went ahead and I saw a prototype photo of it, and I think the photo was from, I want to say 2003 or 2004, but it was too cool not to try and model. So I went ahead and weathered the snot out of this one, and that's what we ended up with here. I think it came out pretty cool. And if we pan over a little bit here, we'll also catch there's a couple of these covered hoppers that were Western Maryland ones that I had weathered a long time ago. And I went ahead and patched them over to CSX for my late 90s time frame. That way, I'd like to keep some cars still as Western Maryland, B&O, C&O, but I kind of want to have a little bit of a CSX mix in as well. Here's the last freight car I'll be showing off. This is actually an Athearn covered hopper. This is the CNW one. This is one I saw prototype photos of from, I believe it was either 1998 or 1999. And as you guys can tell, it spoke to me because it is just rusted. I don't know what this car actually hauled in reality, but it is very rusty. I would assume salt or something that's going to do that, but this is one of my more favorite pieces I built within the last year as well. So that's going to about do it for our actual layout, workbench, whatever you guys want to call this update here. Comment down below if you want me to do something like this every month and just show different projects I'm working on, maybe show things on the layout, show things on the workbench. What do you guys want to see as far as this stuff goes? Because I'm kind of curious as to whether this kind of stuff would be interesting to y'all, or whether you guys would just kind of be like, just save us to the trains, you know? So go ahead and leave me a comment down below and let me know. Thanks for watching.